All right, welcome back. And it's still Breakfast Daily. We're having conversations this morning on menstrual hygiene and sanitary pads. Luxury items or a necessity? Something that we definitely need to do something about in Ghana. Now we have another report for you. Let's take a look at it. Brought to you by our colleague Eno Safo. Let's take a look at it.
The high cost of menstrual pads has severe repercussions on menstrual hygiene, particularly among vulnerable populations in rural Ghana. The inability to afford these products forces many individuals to resort to unsafe practices. Notably, the price of a pack of sanitary pads has increased from 6 Ghana cedis 50 pesos to 15 Ghana cedis or 20 Ghana cedis over the past year. This dire situation primarily affects vulnerable groups. Currently, the government of Ghana classifies sanitary pads under the harmonized system code 9619, which subjects them to various taxes, including a 20% import duty, 13% import VAT, NHL 2.5%, and other levies. These taxes significantly contribute to the inflated market price of menstrual pads, making them unaffordable for numerous adolescent girls.
When they go to school, at first I could buy like 5 for them to take to school, but now I have to buy only 3 or 2. And I don't know how they can survive on that. But I have to do it that way because the stress is getting so much on us. So if it happens like this, how do you think the girl child will be able to go through all this? They will have to find other ways. And it's not going to help at all. Why should condom be that cheap whilst pad is this high? I was telling my friends yesterday, condom is less than, I think, 5 cedis or maybe 5 cedis. But pad is 20 cedis, 25 cedis. Why? Is it our fault that we menstruate? No, it's not our fault. So I don't expect us to go through this. Whilst condom is that cheap. So if they want to do anything, put more taxes on it, they should put it rather on condoms. So that those who want to enjoy that much can go through that.
The price of pad is too expensive. They have to remove the taxes from the pad so that it will reduce and we can afford it. Because nowadays it's like 20 cedis, 18. Oh, it's too much. How can we buy a pad like 20 cedis? We have to reduce it and remove the taxes from it.
Some are too expensive, and the ones that are not expensive too, they are not good. So some cost 18 cedis, 20 cedis, and the ones that are not expensive too, they are 7 cedis, 8 cedis. They are not good. If you use it, sometimes you get heat rashes or you can stain yourself. I should reduce it so that it will be affordable for all of us to buy.
In a month, I'm supposed to use like one full descent because the blue one, we have 2 sides inside. We have blue and pink. The blue one is for daily. That one is absorb more blood. But the pink one is like, but now how the prices is going now, it's like we can't afford the prices. If in case they can do something about it, I will be very happy.
School for no more to me talk. Almost a new boy din. It will be more club. Baba Casso about Dadanumu. Dadanumu said Tiro and Itamago. It's also a year. Abano so bani and one toy. Says, I need money boy. I a cosulo. Okoto Musi, way. Omodi Vata Toso. A bill on soa, way, your friend say, Omoko Yenia Manu, Tamanu, Niamanu boyadi, duty no boyadi. It's your more money, a man on bafom, my near man on bafom.
Sir, pardon, Obako, or the way tax 1 cedi in a tosua. The more than that, and I bed, Abatoso, enter a man born a gosono. Tax no, and ya, he be I bet him containing, said you are more to Muno. Ubako bin Chakrana, pardon, Bako at 13.5, Baby at 14, a how back 18 cedis.
Thomas Musatanko, the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, emphasizes the need for the government to reconsider this policy to ensure universal access to education for female children across the country.
We have signed onto the Sustainable Development Goal and spectacularly go forth and says that leave no one behind. To that extent, why should girls be left behind because of this? Why should a girl leave absent herself from school because of this natural occurrence? It's something that we don't have any excuse at all. Look, in the Constitution, it's clear. Article 25 provides that basic education should be compulsory. I repeat, Article 25 of our Constitution provides that basic education should be compulsory, coupled with Article 38. So it means that whatever you can do for children to be in school, it ought to be done. Anything short than that, if the state cannot provide for children to stay in school, then we have no business fighting child labor. We come to the Children's Act that in all matters where the interest of the child or the child is involved, the interest of the child shall be paramount.
Sandra Boachi, the Chief Executive Officer of Inspire Her Ghana, a civil society organization advocating for the removal of taxes on sanitary pads, argues that these taxes are regressive and negatively affect the education of young girls.
Such a policy, retards women. It inhibits girl-child education. Girls are currently missing school as a result of menstruation. They are not able to afford the pads, so they don't go to school. So definitely this is a retrogressive tax policy, and we want to challenge the government to relook at this tax and then make sure that Ghanaian women are free. Our menses is not taxed. If you look at the nature of the tax and its impact, at the end of the day, if these girls don't get the pads because they're expensive, because of the import taxes, then they get pregnant. A lot of girls are having sex for pads. I think Citi covered a few stories on that. Sex for pads is now the issue. And also because you're already in economic hardships, making it extra difficult for these girls to access these pads. So for me, if we want to achieve our SDGs, if we want to achieve gender equality, like we say, if we want to have inclusion, if we want to have women at the table, it starts from menstruation. It starts from when they are in school. Because without education, you don't even get to come to the limelight. You don't get to be who you want to be. So if such a major tax issue is affecting girl-child education, then I don't know where we are going. And I strongly believe that our SDGs, achievements of our SDGs are at stake as a result of this retrogressive tax policy.
The current taxation policy on menstrual pads in Ghana exacerbates the challenges faced by girls and women in accessing affordable and hygienic menstrual products. Removing taxes on sanitary pads will help alleviate these burdens and promote better menstrual health. It is imperative for the government to consider these concerns and take action to ensure the well-being and education of all girls across the nation.
All right, so that report brought to us by our colleague Eno Safo. Very important details in there for us to pay attention to. But we've been joined on the line by the Executive Director of Inspire Her Ghana, Sandra Boachi. Sandra, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yes. Sandra, so in your advocacy and the work that you do, does it look like there's any hope?
But I am a positive person, so I believe there is hope. And there's a way to get around these things. And that's why we started with our demonstration. And then we ended up representing a petition to the government. And the government has received it at the Parliament House. So we hope that this petition will yield results this time. Because it's not the first time we are doing this. CSOs have been mounting this pressure on government for a long time. And we hope that this time the government will listen and remove these taxes to free our menstruation. Yeah.
Okay, now give us some perspective. When did you submit this petition, and who was it particularly who received it on behalf of government?
Okay, and the petition was submitted by the team, including myself, on the Monday. Let me get the date. Yeah, I think 30th May.
Okay.
At the Parliament House, and
Okay.
then we have the Parliament Select Committee held the head pick up the petition. So I forgot the name; it's not on my head right now. But we know that it's in safe hands, and definitely the government of the day will listen. And yeah.
All right. So, what are some of the stories you can share? If you can give us some of the worst stories that you've experienced, in this whole advocacy as you've been going around with the girls distributing and all of that. What are some of the stories that you can share with us? Give us one.
Okay, I'll give you one. And I was in Afo South 2 months ago, and I encountered a few girls. And what we gathered through the discussion is that now the pads are expensive, 20 cedis upwards.
Yeah.
So what they do is that they get themselves boyfriends, and at the end of the month, they're able to secure their money for their pads. So it's like the menstruation is the sole reason why they need to get boyfriends.
Yeah.
And they can't help it. You can't go out and soil yourself, and you can't mingle, you can't go to school and all of that. And this is a desperate situation. If you're a woman, you understand. I mean, your blood will not stop flowing because you don't have money or because of any other reason. So when it gets to the end of the month, the situation is that desperate, and these girls are doing all kinds of things. For those who are not able to, who don't get boyfriends, they also use unsafe and unhygienic materials. Some are using papers, some are using tea rolls, leaves, all kinds of things. I mean, I heard about a story about girls in northern Ghana using clay, and the whole Ghana was, the whole Ghana was like, oh, this is not true, this is not true. But I mean, some of us in the States have heard words, which I haven't heard clay, I've heard ashes. Women who make ashes into bar, so like a bar thing, and put it in their panty. And because ashes is like very refined, it's able to stop the blood. I mean, the things women do in their privacy, we don't talk about it. And if we start talking, people will deny it, but that is the reality. I mean, you and I know what is happening in Ghana currently. And for the average working woman, it's even difficult to buy sanitary pads sometimes. So not to think of the girl out there who doesn't have money, parents don't have money. I mean, poverty is real. And that's why we want to challenge the government of the day to prioritize menstrual health and hygiene in Ghana. For me, such a move or such a decision will tell us women that government prioritizes us. Government is interested in our health and our well-being. And the question I've been asking myself for a while now is how did menstruation even how did the menstrual hygiene products get onto the luxury list in the first place? I mean, as a country, we decide that this goods should be luxury, this should be essential, according to the GRA classification. So if we have things like salt, if we have disability equipment, if we have fixing nets, I mean, the things we consider essential, we put it on essential list, and as a result of that, it's not subject to luxury taxes. And then issues that have to do with women end up on a luxury list. For me, I just ask myself, how did we even get here? And for me, if the government is taking such decisions, it's just a reflection of the lack of gender and inclusive policy, and it tells us as women that the government is interested in our well-being. And we know menstruation is a human rights issue. Every girl should have access to products to manage their menstruation with dignity. They don't have to be vulnerable because they are menstruation. And that's the message we're trying to tell government, that we don't need that at this time. And in the wake of inclusivity and all of that, we want government to make inclusive policies to make sure that women become who we are supposed to be.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sandra. for speaking to us. Sandra Boache is the Executive Director of Inspire Her Ghana. And they're doing a lot of work in that space. And also submitted a petition to Parliament for the scrapping of taxes on sanitary products. And sanitary products are definitely not a luxury product. And whoever came up with that idea, you don't understand the word luxury.
Like, exactly.
No, it's obvious.
Exactly.
It's obvious.
No,
Your English teacher died many years ago.
And I think,
because,
I think this person or whoever or whichever group of people that thought it was luxury actually think that we just sit down and say, oh, we want our periods to come today. You understand?
Yeah.
Like that's what I like. I can't process it.
It's illogical.
It's very illogical.
It's illogical.
And that's why, like, once I want to ask a question, like, what does the African Union have to do with my period? What does COVID have to do with my period? I'll just sit down there. COVID people are taking money for my African Union is taking for a period that they didn't ask for. Like, I don't understand.
No, but it shows the kind of people that are in charge.
It's sad.
Do you understand? It's the mindset of the people that are in charge. That is why we have what we have. So, listen, I'm saying that by December, I'm throwing you a challenge. If we are worth our salt, I'm throwing you a challenge. By the end of this year, all the 14 taxes need to be repealed, to be scrapped. We need to come down to basic cost, no taxes. And then go beyond that and start to provide stations where people can pick up, ladies can pick up pads for free. Yes. Then we can say that indeed, Ghanaians, we are worth who we claim. Listen, I'm going to read you something here.
Right.
You know our coat of arms says freedom and justice. The freedom part we understand. Let me explain the justice part to you. I'm going to give you a definition of justice from the Cornell Law University. Justice is the ethical, philosophical idea that people are to be treated impartially, fairly, properly, and reasonably by the law and by arbiters of the law. I'll leave it there. There's more. Justice. Question I'm asking, is it reasonable that our esteemed MPs, is it fair that our esteemed MPs should pile on 14 different taxes when their colleagues in at least 5 other countries on this same God-blessed continent have, as far as 2016, 2017, removed taxes from theirs? Government of Ghana, the House of Legislature in Ghana. What are we doing? Is it fair? Is it reasonable? The freedom and justice that we talk about, what does it actually even mean? We have another caller.
Yeah,
we have another resource person.
So we're going to be talking to Osaremen Agbotan, who's the Youth Executive Member of the Ghana Girls Guide Association. Hi, Osa.
Hi.
Thank you for joining in. You're welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
All right, Osa. First of all, I'd like to ask you, how does this make you feel as a woman?
Please, I didn't hear you clearly. Can you come again?
I said, how does this whole conversation about pads being luxury or a necessity makes you feel as a woman?
Okay, so personally, I think I'm having a bit of mixed feelings about it. I'm happy that the conversations around it have started and it's gaining momentum. And unfortunately, I'm a bit sad because despite the conversation circulating, I'm not really seeing the move by government to scrap off the luxury tax. And I was much more disappointed when I heard a fellow woman who was a Chief Justice nominee making the comment that menstrual products for schools and little children should be tax-free.
but for working females shouldn't be. And I was so sad because I don't know when sanitary products became okay for the younger ones to afford and not okay for the working class. Because mind you, as a working class female or parents or aunties or uncles that actually purchase these for the younger ones. And so I'm happy that the conversation is ongoing, but I'm not too happy about the effect of it. I'm not seeing government doing what we want them to do.
Right. And I'm sure you've gone around, talking to young girls, or you've even gone around for some outreaches. So what are some of the common challenges that these girls face?
So it's basically the affordability of the sanitary product. Affordability of the sanitary product. What they can readily afford is the disposable sanitary pads. But now the price is outrageous. Even we, the working class people, are complaining. Right. And so when we go for outreaches, especially the rural areas, we find out that there are girls that have to literally have sexual intimacy with their teachers and some family members just so they can afford the disposable sanitary pads. Right. We try as much as possible to create the reusable sanitary pads with the cotton fabrics and other items, but it's not enough because how many people can we reach in a month, in 2 months, in 6 months, even in a year? It's not enough. So the disposable sanitary pads are more accessible, but now accessibility has become a problem.
Right, right. So talking about the disposable sanitary pads, does your organization actually create it, or you actually collaborate with people that create it for these girls?
For the disposable sanitary pads, we actually purchase them from the companies that make them. Mm-hmm. But for the reusable sanitary pads, we make them ourselves. And there are other organizations that also are beginning to learn how to do the reusable sanitary pads with their fabric, and they make it. We make it as a team, and we go out there to distribute it to girls and young women.
Right. So how safe are these pads, the reusable pads?
They are very safe. They are equally safe. As compared to the disposable sanitary pads, because we ensure that just like they make the disposable sanitary pads in the factory in a hygienic manner, we ensure that we make these reusable sanitary pads in a hygienic manner. And even when we are training the girls and young women to make these reusable sanitary pads, we ensure that they do that in a hygienic way. I mean, we don't use dirty fabric to make these reusable products, and we teach them the right things to put inside to be able to absorb the blood when it flows. And we teach them how to also keep the reusable sanitary pads well. So if you are using your disposable sanitary pad and maybe every 4 hours you go and change, the same goes for the reusable one. So you should have about 2 or 3 of such, so that when one is off, the other one is put on. So when you go home, we teach you how to wash it, sun dry it, and then keep using it.
All right. Thank you so much, Osai. It was really nice talking to you. Thank you. And kudos to your organization for all that you do for the girls. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So, yes, I mean, so enough said, I believe. I think that we've done an all-round conversation on this matter. There has to be some action ASAP. I'm expecting to hear Parliament table it and start talking about the issues. You've been presented a petition already, so we want to see some action. We'll be watching out for it. There's no need for us to drag our feet on this matter. It's way past time, that if there are importers or other government institutions that are benefiting from the fact that it's expensive and all of that, well, it's a crying shame that we should be doing this to ourselves when 5 other countries have led the way already. South Africa, Kenya, Botswana, Zambia, Uganda have led the way and showed us that it is possible, and not only possible to repeal taxes and to allow the prices to go at cost, but also to actually go ahead further and provide for public schools free pads for all girls in public schools. And like she said, like Osa said, for her, she was quite saddened by the fact that the nominee for Chief Justice
of the country
made this comment. And when I heard it, I was a little bit disappointed, to be fair with you.
Let's put it there. It's a woman saying this.
Yes. I was actually a little bit disappointed because I felt that she needed to come to the table being very bold about the issue and to say that for all women across the country, there should be no taxation whatsoever.
That's all.
You can't separate the taxes and say for this, tax-free, for this, taxes.
Exactly.
You can't separate the two. You can't. I don't know what kind of regime you will do to separate the two and say that, okay, we're going to import some and we'll not tax them, and then we'll sell the ones that are not taxed to their children, and the ones that are taxed will... the pharmacy, which shop? Where will you sell those ones that are not taxed?
We'll all be
exactly.
Students.
We'll all go and look for the one that is not taxed. Do you understand? I think that we should have the conversation in a very bold, clear manner and say, we are not taking this anymore. Number one, the 14 taxes must disappear and no other tax should come and add to it. It must be declassified as a luxury product. It's a normal necessity.
It's a need, yeah.
Regular, normal necessity. It must be the classification of luxury should be removed. All the taxes should be removed. And lastly, we should provide stations and places where public schools especially, and then others, as we roll out the plan, we can figure out how that will work. That ladies, girls can have access to sanitary pads for free.
Right.
Breakfast Daily. We have more to come. Don't go anywhere.